corporate, massive corporate giants around the world in big biotech, big pharma, big food, and all the rest of it. And they are the representatives within visible light of these archontic, I will call them because they take various forms, entities. And they are shapeshifters, or the most extreme of them can be. Not all of them that were on that picture, but the more extreme of them can be. And people say, that Icke is another one on the list. He says people can shapeshift. That's ridiculous. Well, if you're coming from your perspective of reality, that everything is solid, that is bloody ridiculous. But as I talked about in part one, this is not a solid world. It's a holographic world. The solidity is illusory, as quantum physics will confirm. And the shift in shape is not a physical solidity shift. It is a shift in the information waveform information field. So, if there's a shift in the information field at the waveform level, then it will be decoded through the genetic brain decoding system through to a holographic shift. In other words, the shift takes place in the observer's decoding system. 1 minute the person is looking human because that is decoding the human field. Then there's a shift in that field, and another field which is not human will become the dominant one. That decoding system is now decoding the second field. To the observer, there has been a physical shift from human to non-human and back again, but what there's actually been is a shift in the information fields the observer is decoding. And thus, we see people, he's not there by accident either, we see these people here with invisible light, and they look human. But if you could see beyond it, deeper into the energy field, you would see something that's anything but human. And these Gnostic writings found at Nag Hammadi talk about the fact that one of the great ways that these archontic entities manipulate human society and human perception is by being mind parasites, by what we call possessing or influencing the human mind to think, perceive, and act in certain negative ways. So, one of the key reasons that these particular bloodlines were created was because if you have genetic compatibility here in the holographic realm, then when you go back to the base construct, the vibrational realm, you have vibrational compatibility, or much greater, and therefore the ability to possess that body-mind and influence it and dictate its perceptions and behavior becomes much more powerful than the general run of the human population, in which that genetic compatibility is not as close. Of course, possession is an ancient, as long as history, theme, right up to the present day. Now, talk to a lot of visual psychics around the world. I mean, I've been on this road nearly a quarter of a century. I've had a chance to talk to a few. And they often tell me about seeing ethereal-type entities, often reptilian in form, locking into these lower two chakra points and kind of floating around. This is part of the way that they possess. And then I'm reading an article about this visual psychic, a Swiss bloke, who seems to be, very renowned at what he does. And he wasn't talking about any of this stuff. He was just talking about his life and what he experienced and things that he's experienced. And in the middle of this article, he said this, a guy called Anton Steiger. When I see people in business or politics who are particularly trapped by the material world, five senses, for example, I notice that they no longer have any light bodies at all. In many of these people, the point of light at the heart chakra, which is otherwise always present, is no longer visible to me. What do we call these people like bankers? They are heartless. Literally true on an energetic level. Instead, I see something like a layer of shiny tar around them, in which a monstrous being in the shape of a lizard can be distinguished. When such people speak on television, for example, I see a crocodile shape manifesting itself around the person like in a concave mirror. I don't see the light of their throat or forehead chakra. This is the possession, this is the mind parasite nature of these entities that the Gnostics talked about. Now, lots of people send me stuff from around the world because what I talk about. And I got sent this. I'm not saying that this is real. It might be a trick of the light. But it does give a visual feel for the way so many of these people have been described to me. With the eyes changing from a human pupil to a reptilian pupil, and then going back again. I've heard that, I've seen, people have given me endless accounts of full body shifts, shifts of the upper body, and more than anything, shifts of the eyes. The eyes are the window on the soul, or the window to the self beyond the world that we see. And interestingly, I've got a friend who has an associate who was doing research into, I don't agree with it, but he's doing research into iris scanning technology. And this led to him looking through a microscope into, I think it was 2,300 eyes or pairs of eyes. And what he said, he had no idea that my friend was associated with me, probably had no idea I exist. But what he said to my friend was this: of the 2,300 eyes that he scanned, around 4% appeared to be of reptilian type and appearance, and he could not understand what the hell that was all about. And if someone said, what is the percentage of the human population? I'd say 4 or 5%. That is what I'm talking about. That's how few it takes to manipulate the world if you get hold of the institutions that dictate the world. So we're looking at people from a visible light point of view that look human, but beyond that are not. There you go. He doesn't have to shapeshift Murdoch, does he? Bloody hell. A bit like Mick Jagger. He don't have to, does he, really? But there you go. There's one of them. He doesn't look, he looks perfectly human. Oh, there we go. There's another one. There you go. There you go. Ooh, there you go. Been to the ritual, Mom? Have you? What's going on? And the other thing is that these bloodlines, they, like I've just said, they stay inside the network. And so that when you follow them back, you tend to come across some interesting people. We've had Prince Charles in the last few months talking about the royal family's ancestral connection to Vlad the Impaler, one of the most infamous blood-drinking, satanic torturers in human history, who was a member, along with the rest of his family, of something in its simple title called the Order of the Dragon, which goes back into the ancient world, which is an order of these bloodlines. He was from Transylvania, and old Charles has got a place there. Mary of Teck, her grandmother, was connected genetically very closely down the line to his sister, and thus brought that bloodline into the royal family. There you go. They're not what we think they are. That's the point. And because we only see the visible light level, it seems fantastic. I think, one of the great, well, no, I'll rephrase that. The only good thing, from my point of view, of the Diamond Jubilee celebrations was when, at the royal concert, Elton John sang Crocodile Rock to the royal family. I thought that was absolutely frickin' brilliant. And like I say, these bloodlines have no empathy, therefore they have no limits. Pepper bombing cities full of civilians, couldn't give a damn. Starving people to death, putting mercenaries into countries to cause mayhem, as in countries in the Middle and Near East and North Africa, not a problem. What a laugh. No empathy. Another thing is that a lot of people don't realize that one of the fundamentally important influences of human perception and behavior is called the R complex by scientists, or the reptilian brain. And the reptilian brain, when not balanced by other parts of the brain, gives us cold-blooded behavior and territoriality, a desire to control, an obsession with ritualistic behavior. These are so ritualistic, these bloodlines. Everything is ritual to them. And hierarchical structures of power. Aggression, might is right, winner takes all. I've just described human society as dictated by the crazies. And all this stuff in the royal family, all this royal protocol, all this ritual is all reptilian brain. And if you have a greater infusion of reptilian genetics, you're going to have a greater extreme of reptilian characteristic traits. Did you see that after the royal wedding, when Madam issues another list to update who should bow and curtsy to bloody who? What a joke! The last I looked, it was the 21st century. Where are we? What's going on? If he falls anymore, he'll fall over. If you're coming from your perspective of reality that everything is solid, that is bloody ridiculous. But as I talked about in part one, this is not a solid world, it's a holographic world. Massive corporate giants around the world in big biotech, big pharma, big food and all the rest of it. And they are the representatives within visible light of these archontic, I will call them because they take various forms, entities. And they are shapeshifters, or the solidity is illusory, as quantum physics will confirm. And the shift in shape is not a physical solidity shift, it is a shift in the extreme of them can be. Not all of them that were on that picture, but the more extreme of them can be. And people say, that Icke is another one on the list. He says people can shapeshift. That's ridiculous. Well,